Welcome back, everybody. So this week we're talking about YouTube, and it's everything we earn, everything we learn, and everything in between from the last year.
So I am fascinated with YouTube, always have been and always will be. And if you don't know how we got into YouTube, we did a Q&A before where we explain it all. But the short version is we saved up a pot of money, we quit our jobs and we went off traveling. And the plan was we were going to go until we run out of money and then get jobs again.
So if you don't know, on YouTube, to get monetized, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And we got our watch hours quite quickly, but it felt like it took forever to get our subs. It was only 4 months, but we got to about 800 subs, and then you'd watch it go like up 1, down 2. It was agonizing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we sort of struggled for another 3 months after that. You know, we got really excited if we get 1,000 views in a week. So,
but where we sort of gained traction was we did the Defender build, and whether it was the build or the Defender, I don't know. But yeah, we started to gain a few subscribers then, and then came the Sainsbury's van build, which was crazy. Like we got like 10,000 subscribers in a week at one point.
And what was mad about it was the night before we started filming it, we were talking and we we're like, have we made a mistake in getting this? Like, one, because we didn't know how the build was going to go, but also, is anybody going to watch? Because no one had done one at that point. And it's been our best thing since.
Yeah, like it's done like 500,000 views, that video. So just crazy what goes well on YouTube and what doesn't. So first off, let's get into the nitty gritty of the good, the bad and the ugly.
So let's start with the ugly. And the ugly is people. Gross people, that is.
And that's the comments they leave. So 99% of the comments we get is good, but we do get some real bad ones. And you probably don't see them because we just delete them.
Yeah.
Because we find that's the easiest way to deal with them, because most of the time they just want a reaction out of you. And when we say horrible comments, we'll get like the easy ones like, John's got so big ears, like he's like Dumbo. I don't care about that, you know what I mean? You just brush it off. But then when you get things like, please don't breed and things like that, like
really, really vile comments.
So...
And we try not to let them affect us, but the truth is they do ruin your day. Yeah. But we're just not going to give them any more time of day than pressing the delete button.
Yeah. The bad. Now, the bad is always thinking, always questioning what you're getting up to.
Like, is this any good? Does anybody want to watch this? Do we look like idiots? It just never ends. And then on top of that, there's all of the planning as well. Because don't get me wrong, it is the dream life to be able to travel the world and see everything. But there's so much work that goes on in the background that people don't see. So we got a lot of questions on the Arctic trip about why I wasn't driving. But truth be told, when we're driving, I'm either flying the drone or doing research. So yeah, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes.
I say I'll do the research of where we're going. But
all we'd do is go to bloody tool shops if he did that.
Well, that's what I think we want to see, don't we?
But also, I think one of the things I find hard with doing videos is you'll put something together that you're really proud of. So like our favourite video from the Arctic trip was the one where we stayed in the wood cabin and we went sledding. And that's the video that did the least well and got the least views.
Yeah,
so.
And the crazy thing about it is what decides that is a picture that big. And to come up with that picture that's going to catch everybody's eye to watch that video is just so frustrating. And I think that's why a lot of people do the clickbaity video. And I can't knock people for this. I used to hate it. It still grates on me a little bit now. But if you don't get the clicks, you're never going to get seen. So.
And then you don't get paid. And also, I guess the other thing to say is if you don't make a video, you don't earn any money. There's no sick pay or holiday pay. I mean, our life is a holiday, but yeah. So there's some of the bad things.
The good. Now, without a doubt for me, the best thing about this is the fact that we get to travel the world and build camper vans and enjoy them for a living now, so. And
we've got the memories of it. So like having some of the footage that we've got from our trips in Australia and Malaysia, it's just priceless. I think I also really enjoy that we get to be creative, and surprisingly, John really enjoys that too.
Yeah, I never thought I would enjoy it this much, to be honest, but to create a video that people love to watch and is either they laugh at it or learn from it is just brilliant. Yeah.
The absolute best one for me is when we get comments that people say that it's made them smile or it's made them laugh or want to try something. It's just brilliant.
So now we're going to get into the money side of it. And before we tell you what we've earned, we're going to tell you what we've spent. So this is all our recording equipment that we use to make the videos. And you could do it with just a phone. You don't need all this, but we like to get loads of different angles and everything like that. So we've got a DJI Mini 3 Pro for the drone, GoPros for underwater shots and action shots and everything like that. We're recording on a Sony a7 IV camera now, and then obviously you've got all the lenses to go with it as well, all the other accessories, and then lastly your laptop. Now you need a really good laptop to run the software that you're going to create the videos with, and then that's another thing as well, is you'll need an editing software where we use DaVinci Resolve. And then also you'll need a music subscription, which we use Artlist as well. So it's quite a lot of costs involved, and we've spent about £10,000 to get everything up and running.
Another cost you need to think about is how much it's going to cost you to actually make your content. So obviously doing van build and travel content is quite expensive. If you were to do something, say like makeup reviews, obviously you've got a lot less overheads. But for us, this year we've been to Australia, Malaysia, that big summer road trip, the trip to Scotland and the Arctic, and that cost us £21,000.
So now we've told you what we spent, let's tell you what we've earned. So obviously we didn't start earning till May, so this is just from May till January, so we'll go through it.
So in May we earned £49, then 37, 82, 358.
And that's when the Defender bill came in, when we started to gain traction slightly.
1,709.
And then this is where the Sainsbury's van came in.
£7,765. Get in, Sainsbury's van, you little beauty. 4,706, 2,488, £2,208 in January.
So the total was
£19,402.
So not quite a year, but the way they pay that is basically they give you an RPM, which is basically
revenue per 1,000 views.
Yeah. Which ours is £6
and 74 pence.
So it doesn't always work out exactly that, but it's near enough anyway.
And the way that you get paid is by people watching the ads. So I know that they're annoying, but basically we say we want ads or we don't want ads, and YouTube decides where they go in. And
I have to say, we've had a couple of comments at the beginning about, getting loads of ads in, which don't get me wrong, I hate the ads, but I much prefer to not pay for YouTube and have the ads in, because you can obviously watch YouTube without the ads if you pay the premium, but I think everybody wants it for free. So it's, you either have the ads and you don't pay the premium, or you pay the premium and don't watch the ads. But just so you know, the ads is what keeps YouTube going.
Yeah. And on this point as well, we've had a lot of questions about like how many subscribers do you need to earn a certain amount of money. Subscribers does help in as much as obviously there's that many people that it sends the video to each week, but it's views that matter. So we get paid per view, it's not actually paid per subscriber. So apart from the ads on YouTube, there's 4 more ways that we have income. The first is still through YouTube, and that is through super thanks. So that's essentially like people giving us a tip, but we do keep a track of that. And like we've said before, we spend that on something special. We also have an Amazon shop. So if you buy anything from our Amazon shop, it doesn't cost you any money, but they do give us a little kickback. Also, actually, if you go onto our Amazon shop and then just buy anything on Amazon, they give us a little kickback, which I think is completely bizarre, but brilliant. So we've earned £260 off of Amazon so far. And then there's also Instagram and Facebook. So they put like little ads at the sides of our reels and things like that. And that's paid us £596 over the time we've been doing it.
And this was one of the questions we got as well, that how comes a lot of people are going over to Instagram rather than YouTube? Can you earn more money there and things like that? Now, I would say you can earn like good money from Instagram, and especially with like sponsors and things like that, but something that we haven't really done that well on. And the thing with Instagram, I would say, why it's probably a lot easier than YouTube. I'm not saying it's easy. You still need to obviously do good content and that, but we could do a reel, say, with our phone, just recording it, and obviously go quite well. Whereas you can't really do that with a YouTube. A YouTube video has to be probably at least 20 minutes and things like that.
Because obviously the length of time that your video goes for affects the amount of time that YouTube can put ads in and all of that sort of thing. So
I'd say Instagram, you could fit Instagram into your life a hell of a lot easier than you could YouTube anyway.
Yeah.
And one of the last ways we make money is through sponsorship deals and collaborations, like the 60-second integrations and collaborate with companies for products.
Yeah, and we unfortunately can't tell you how much we earn from these because it's written into our contracts that we can't share that information. What I would say is it works very much like tendering for a job or a working contract. You negotiate your price with the company and then you go from there. We didn't actually have any idea how to deal with this, and we reached out to some YouTubers for help.
Yeah, so we spoke to Philly and Keely from Chapter Chapter, Alex from Mispronounced Adventures, and also 2 YouTubers that don't do it anymore, Kieran and Alice, and they were ever so helpful. So I would recommend, if you're starting it new, just reach out to some other YouTubers. They probably won't tell you what they got or anything like that, but they'll help from when they started. So yeah, thank you very much.
And on the note of sponsorship deals, we had quite a few questions about how we actually get the deals. So fortunately for us, quite a lot of ours come from people coming to us, which is great.
But we do get quite a lot of emails asking us, do we want to work with products, get products and things like that, which we hardly take any of, I'd say, because we don't want to just take any product and promote a product, because then when we are promoting a product, you'll think, are they just doing this for the money? You wouldn't believe us, really. So yeah, that's why we only try to promote things we actually believe in and want ourselves as well. And that's where we got another brilliant bit of advice from Jacko from Boris the Defender. He said, go to companies that you really believe in and you really want to work with and try and get them like that. I still think this is brilliant advice and I'll still take it, but we've been stung like that a couple of times now, because one company we went to, they said they'd pay us a certain amount of money and then they didn't pay us it all.
Which is our fault because we didn't get a contract.
And then the other company were just flat out rude to us, and yeah.
It wasn't a very nice experience, shall we say.
So yeah, like, do it that way. I still think that's brilliant advice, but just be prepared to...
You're not always going to get a nice response.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to avoid that, there are companies that will do all of that negotiation for you. So you can go with agents and things like that. And we have spoken to them and found out all about it. But for us, that's not a road that we want to go down, at least not now, because we want to be able to do things like we did with Shadow Foam. So there was no money exchanged hands with them. We just really like the products, and the blokes are legends as well. Plus they made a video about us, we made a video about them.
Yeah, it was very mutual, and like I say, I love the product. If I was on the spanners, I would be using the product. I did sort of my own DIY thing of that myself. But then it does annoy me sometimes with the sponsorship deals and everything like that though. Like, we got a comment saying that we sold out when we worked with Rhodes Vans for the springs for the Sprinter van.
We wanted the springs.
Absolutely brilliant. Like, couldn't have come at a better time. We wanted them. He offered us to work with us.
Will's lovely as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Somebody said to us, you sold out so soon on YouTube. I don't know how that's selling out, but yeah. And
on the note of that, we get that it can be frustrating seeing sponsored ads a lot in the YouTube world. But one, they're what keeps it free, because AdSense alone isn't enough. And also, if you're seeing the same brand pop up regularly, that actually means that that brand is really supportive of YouTube and helping keep all the channels alive. So that's what we'd say on that note. So now we're going to try and answer all of your questions we haven't answered in the previous sections. We've categorized them, and we're going to start with the ones that are specific to YouTube, and we're going to try and do them quick fire. Go.
How many hours do you spend editing a video for Saturday?
Bit of a tricky one because it depends, but probably about 20 hours per video. We work on it every night, and then we also do like a full day on them as well.
How much footage do you film for a video?
So hours and hours and hours. Like, for example, with a drone clip, we might put it up for 10 minutes and use 10 seconds. Do you plan to make YouTube your full-time job, or do you plan to return to work?
Never want to go back to work. I love YouTube. I love doing what we're doing, so hopefully we can make it work, eh?
How do we plan and manage our time?
Not very well.
No.
I think YouTube just takes over your life a bit, really. So
I think particularly the style of YouTube that we do, where we're doing van builds or we're doing travel, because that is our whole life that we're trying to show you.
Yeah.
So.
Do you plan your content or shoot from the hip?
So we have a few bits that we do scripted. So like you would have seen last week, John couldn't get his words out for the old breaking news. But most of it is shooting from the hip, because we don't know where we're gonna go, what we're gonna do, what we're gonna see. So we just have to make it up as we go along.
If you called it a day with YouTube, what would you do?
I don't know. I did have some like careers lined up that we might go into, but we're hoping we can make this last. So it's not something we've put a huge amount of thought into. Would you change anything if a good sponsor tried to make you?
I'd change you.
Oh, that's not very nice.
No, definitely not. Like, I think you couldn't really, it wouldn't last any long. You've got to just be yourself, haven't you? So.
You're telling me that if Bosch said they give you a bunch of tools if you cut your hair, you
oh yeah, without a doubt, yeah. But,
do you ever regret doing YouTube?
Not a chance.
No.
One of the best things we ever did. Do you ever get grief when filming?
No, we've never had a problem. We were definitely self-conscious filming in busy places to begin with, but it's not something we've ever had.
And one of my top tips, if you want to start YouTube, go to a foreign country to do it. Because when you're walking down the road vlogging and you're in, say, China, nobody understands you anyway, so...
Well, they probably do understand you, but we just pretend they don't.
Yeah, you don't care. Does YouTube ever get in the way of enjoying the experience?
Not often, no. I'd say most of the time for us it actually adds to it, because it slows us down and means that I get a chance to look at things rather than John rushing me all the time.
Quick fire, quick fire.
Is the camera always on, or do we have to back up to film?
back up to film.
Sometimes I get things like as we're going, but most of the time we're like, oh, that's cool, quick turn round.
And vlogging a lot sometimes, we get it normally all the time, but
yeah,
sometimes we have to back ourselves.
How do you come up with video ideas?
That's a good one. I don't know.
John's
really.
immaturity.
Again, it's sort of like just off the cuff thinking of something most of the time, and then you like put them into a plan. So
I'd say what we try and do is tell you guys all the things we're thinking about a place. So if we go somewhere and we notice something different or something makes us go like, wow, oh, that's unusual, that's where our content comes from.
How to grow and promote your YouTube.
That's a bit of a tricky one. We don't really know the answer. We think it's helped us that we've done Facebook, Instagram and YouTube all together. And like trying to be helpful and stuff.
But I would say a lot of it is just luck of the draw. There's plenty of channels out there that put out good content every week that just don't get picked up and just don't get seen. So as good as you can be, I think a lot of it comes down to luck as well. Tips for anybody starting out YouTube.
So I think the best thing I could say is have a go at making a vlog that you have no intention of putting out, because it's quite hard to put yourself out there and be on camera, and also to learn how to kind of come across, because if you watch some of our earlier things, it makes us cringe a little bit, which I'm sure we will about these later on, but we're very quiet and a bit sleepy. We were quite sleep deprived.
So just get your phone and just vlog through a day.
Yeah.
Just, get used to be on camera.
Yeah, get comfortable with it.
Most valuable lesson from doing vlogs?
I think it's got to be to just give it a go. And I don't mean vlogs specifically, I just mean if there's anything you want to try in life, just chase it, because you might fail, but you never know, you might succeed. Would doing YouTube cover the cost of living in a van?
A hard one, that one. How much do you spend? How many
practically
subscribers have you got?
impossible.
How many views you get? You could do it one week and then not for a month. So yeah, it's just, you can never rely on it. That's one thing I would say.
Yeah. And what about an hourly rate? So what would our hourly rate be?
Abysmal.
Absolutely appalling. Genuinely in the pence, I think.
But I would say it's the least paid job I've ever done, but the most enjoyable job I've ever done.
Next question is, what are our goals and what's next for us?
So for me, I'd love to get 100,000 subscribers this year and get the plaque, but also just to keep the views up as well. So I'd love to keep the views somewhere near the subscriber count anyway.
Yeah,
so
I think that's everyone's goal on YouTube, isn't it? So as you know, for what's next, we're off to Morocco in the Defender. We're not sure how far we're going to go down into Africa, because it depends on what's going to happen with the rest of our year. So we'd love to do another build, but John's struggling to find the specific vehicle that he really wants.
Yeah, I had two in mind, one sold yesterday, but yeah, I'm struggling, so we'll see, hopefully.
We'll see, it depends. We might do more of Africa, or we might come back and do a build. That bit's a bit flexible, but what is now officially decided, and we can tell you what happens with the old beauty Sainsbury's van.
We're taking her back to the Arctic.
But not the Nordic Arctic, she's going to the North American Arctic. And quite a lot of you guessed it, actually.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah. But yeah, can't wait to do that. We'll head up there, through Canada, through the States, and then probably all the way back down the States as well.
Yeah, we'd love to try and kind of keep the Sainsbury's van out there for a couple of years, actually, and go backwards and forwards and do lots of exploring over there. So that's the goal for that one.
Yeah. Next set of quick fires about travel. Have we ever gotten to the point where we said,
Beep!
and given up and gone home?
Yes, we absolutely have. We have something that I like to call turn homeritis, which is basically as soon as we start heading home, we turn into like homing pigeons, don't we?
Yeah.
And it happened on this trip. I mean, you guys saw it. We started to head home, we got to the Baltics.
Quick
and then...
fire here.
Oh yeah, okay. Anyway, yes, we do.
Clothes, laundry and washing when you're on the road. How do you do it?
Right, so John just wears the same clothes all the time, as you've already seen.
I told you not to tell him.
I do quite a lot of washing in the sink. I'd love a little mini washing machine, but it uses a lot of water. So I do lots of washing in the sink, and heaven forbid, but I have a bungee cord that goes across the van that I dry things on. And then we just find laundromats, or Park for Night's really good at finding laundry services as well. So that's what we do on the road.
What do you do for internet?
So we're with EE, and we have a really good package deal that lets us use our phones for free in all the Americas and in Europe and Australia and stuff. So most of the time we just use our phones like normal. We don't have any Wi-Fi or anything.
Yeah, and we've never struggled for signal or anything.
No,
really,
it's been
have we?
really good. I think it's because our internet's terrible at home that it seems brilliant on the road. And then when we go to a country where our phones don't work, we just buy a local SIM and we put that in a spare phone and hotspot to our phones.
What do you do for insurance?
So For our van insurance, we just get policies that give us enough cover for in Europe, and then where we go to places that it doesn't cover in our policies, so for like Bosnia or Morocco, we just get additional insurance, either at the border or like from Morocco, I've arranged it before we go. For travel insurance, I buy annual policies and just make sure that they are for as long as we're away.
And lastly, have you ever been scared travelling, especially in cold/foreign countries?
No, not really, to be honest. We've felt pretty safe everywhere we've been. I think there's a couple of things that make a difference for us, having the crawl through in the cab of the van, and that I am obsessed with planning and preparation. So I do so much research before we go, and avoid places and situations where we could get ourselves into trouble. Next, we're on to van questions. So, would we rent out our vehicles?
Nope. We're both too much of a princess. We like our things where they are, and I'd hate it if it got damaged or anything like that. So yeah,
no.
Not for us.
What's the best van to convert?
I don't think there is a best van to convert really. They're all different. They've all got their pros and cons. We love Sprinters, but I'm starting to like the Transits.
Ford Transits are looking good, aren't they?
The MANs that are out as well. So yeah, I don't think there is a bad one.
What about the easiest van to convert?
I'd say a panel van. Panel vans are the easiest.
Except for the fact that you've got to build around the cupboards. And we did go into that in quite a bit of detail when we did the cost breakdown for building the Sainsbury's van. We kind of compared the good and the bad between the GRP box.
Yeah, with just a normal panel van, definitely.
Yeah. Any particular qualities we look for in a vehicle to convert?
So obviously all the obvious, mechanically sound, no rust and things like that. But I'd pay attention to all little bits as well, like door seals, and is it got a spare wheel, and are you going to have to change the seats and things like that, because all
Can you
that
reuse anything as well?
Yeah, all that sort of stuff starts mounting up as well.
What does the ultimate camper look like, and where would we take it?
Well, this is why we're doing this, to be honest, building all the different campers, because we want to try every different camper going.
Yeah, and we really enjoy building them.
Yeah, but destination, I honestly couldn't tell you, because we want to visit everywhere really.
Yeah, the whole world. I think this trip heading to the Americas is definitely one of the tops of my bucket list, but my bucket list is so long.
Yeah, and then Japan as well.
Top tips for first time DIY van builders.
Take your time, watch loads of YouTube, and don't rush jobs, because it'll end up taking you twice as long if you rush a job, like finicky jobs like carpeting and things like that. Just like, and try and plan it well.
Yeah,
as well.
think through it in order of like, we need to put the carpet in first so then we can put the wood over and get a nice edge.
Yeah.
Do we wish we'd done anything different on the Sainsbury's van?
So we are going to do some mods on this, because obviously now we're taking it to the Americas. Obviously we're going to have hot and cold, so we'll probably put another fan in the roof. We'll probably vent the night heater into the garage just to stop that 100% from freezing.
A few other bits and bobs, but in terms of the layout, no, we love it, don't we? That's one of the reasons we're keeping it.
Yeah.
Would we make a habitation area fully electric?
100%, but all I would say is you'd have to have a big battery bank to rely on. It's all right for summer, but yeah, in the winter and that, you can't just rely on electric.
I think I'd always want a backup of like a jet boil or something as well.
Yeah.
Do you regret spending all the money on the builds, including especially the Land Rover?
No, not at all. I think I think as long as you get your money back,
and you get the use out of them.
Yeah, it's definitely not like that. But even if you lose a bit of money on it, the fact that we get to try all these different things, I think
literally live our dreams. Yeah. And what security measures do we have in a van?
We normally go with pedal locks, trackers, alarms, anything. But I'd say the most thing is what you can see, because nowadays people can jam trackers, they can get keys cut and all sorts of things like that, whereas mechanical things normally take them a lot longer to get through. And
we always put a safe in our vehicles as well, which is always like bolted through the chassis, so that we can put valuables in there and not worry so much.
Now some random ones. Mini John or Jess?
No, we love kids, but we have no plans to have our own.
When all your travels are over and you have a choice of somewhere to live, where would you choose and why?
Excellent question, which I don't know the answer to. I think if I had to choose one country to live in now and I could never travel again, I'd probably have to go home and go to Australia. But yeah, ask me that question when we've done traveling. Do we do OnlyFans, swinging and three-ways?
Unfortunately not. I'm up for it, but I don't know.
I'll just pass on that one. How do we keep day-to-day costs low?
We don't really do much when we're at home. We're pretty boring.
We're boring.
Yeah, we don't smoke, drink, go out, go to dinner. We don't have friends. Well, I don't. So, yeah.
Sad but true.
Are you going to any festivals this year?
So we'd love to, and particularly we would really like to go to Van Love Fest because I want to see Ellie Sachs, and the Overlander show because it just looks so cool. But we'll let you guys know when we do decide if we're going to be here or not.
Are we going to do merch?
No, we're not going to do merch.
What do you mean? We've done merch, you just won't buy it.
John, they can't buy it when I put it in the bin. No, I think it's something we will do one day, but we just haven't got around to it yet. It still blows our mind that people want to actually watch our videos. So thinking that you might want to buy our merch is just, a bit too far for our brains to stretch just yet. Can you take too many tools on a trip, or should you just get what you need in an emergency?
After this last trip, I would say take as much as you can, and especially a code reader. Even though you probably can't really do with much with a code reader, at least you'll sort of have an idea of what to do. So yeah, I'd say take as many as you can, really.
And what's John's favourite tool? What's on his wish list? And what cool tool can he not do without?
So obviously we all know the wish list, that Jess won't buy me a cordless rivet gun. My favourite tool, don't know what my favourite tool would be. Just one.
Just one favourite tool.
I'll tell you what my favourite tool is. A little Bosch screwdriver.
Oh,
brilliant little
love
thing
that
that is.
you?
Yeah, that comes in handy for all sorts.
And what tool can't you do without on trips?
Hammer.
Hammer?
Because if all else fails, you can whack it to death.
Another one, and I know he's not going to answer this one accurately. How much does John spend on tools?
Not a lot. Honestly, not a lot.
Such a liar.
Quite a lot. We just buy when we need the tools.
Yeah.
And when there's tools going cheap. What do we do for downtime?
Honestly, these days we don't have a huge amount of this. We do love a bit of a TV show, and we absolutely love playing with our niece and nephews.
When will the cookbook be available? Well, it's funny you should say that. I'm on with that right now.
Never is the answer.
How long does it take to beep Jess's swear words? A long time.
Do you own the house and the shed, or is it all in family land?
No, so we bought the house when we came from Australia, and we lived in a caravan for a bit while we did it all up and everything, so... Yeah,
we explain all that in the question and answer. If you could each travel with someone famous, who would you choose?
I'd say a comedian, so it's got to be...
Me too! I was thinking I want someone fun.
Yeah, it's got to be like... Ricky Gervais would be good, but maybe Mickey Flanagan, Peter Kay... Yeah, somebody who's going to make you laugh, anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Who is really the boss? You know it. No, I wouldn't say one of us is the boss, would I? It's just we work in partnership. I'm the boss. Marmite versus Vegemite, Tim Tam versus Penguin. Well, obviously, Vegemite and Tim Tams, Marmite and Penguins are an abomination.
This is an excellent question, and I want to know the answer to this, Jessica. How many subs for John to get a battery rivet gun?
Never. No, I tell you what, when we get 100,000, you can get a rivet gun, but not a Bosch one. You can have the Makita one, it's cheaper.
If that's never a reason to subscribe, I don't know what is. Would we do camper conversions for a job?
No, we get asked this quite a bit actually, but to be honest, we love it because we're building it for ourselves for an adventure, and I think if we did it for money, it would just take the magic out of it.
And lastly, tips for new van lifers.
So we're not the best place to answer this question because we're not van lifers, we're van travellers. We very much like to come back to our home and reset.
Yeah, I would say van life is a lot harder than what we do, because if your van breaks down, your home's gone. If it goes in for MOT, your home's gone, and everything like that. Whereas we can always come home and sort of reset sort of thing. So all I would recommend is if you are planning to do van life permanently, always have like a family member that you could go and stop with, or you could even stop on their drive just to sort of rest, because it is quite taxing to always be thinking, right, where am I going to find a park up? Where am I going to get this? Where am I going to get that? So yeah. And that's about it. So sorry it's been 2 sit-down videos, but 1, we wanted to get all the information out and hopefully it's helpful, and 2, it just gives us a bit of a time at home to get research done and bits sorted and everything like that.
Get everything set and orders to come in for the little mods that we need to make to the fender before we go off. Yeah. So thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate your support, and we'll see you next week.